I've had a person who walked right up to me, a marketer who I've known for over 15 years, and said, quote, Heather, you know why you weren't invited to this blah, 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 blah party marketing thing? When he's saying this, he's a little drunk. He's like, because women have no value in marketing. You know what I said to him? I said, thank you for speaking the truth, because women have not been valued in this world of marketing.
You're watching the Marketing Misfits with Norm Farrar and Kevin King.
Hello, Mr. King.
Que paso, Mr. Farrar? How be you?
It's like I haven't seen you for quite some time.
I know it's been a minute or two.
At least that, yeah. Well, had to get a coffee.
These coming in between Tuesdays, these 7 days, it gets lonely over here.
I'm sorry.
It gets lonely. I don't have a dog anymore. I don't have a wife anymore. It's just me in this house and the wind howling around. And a bunch of lonely cigars just sitting out on the table going, hey, hey, hey. Every time I pass by.
Waiting. That's cigars and ice cream, right?
That's right, exactly.
Hey, you know what? I was thinking, I was just coming down the stairs with this cup of coffee, getting ready for this. And something we should talk about is the cigar marketing in Canada, or lack of. You got to experience it. We went to Montreal a little while ago, and we're doing some strategizing. And I said, let's go to a cigar bar. There's none in Ontario, by the way. They've all been banned. But in Quebec, there's still places that you can have a cigar. So we decided, let's go to a cigar spot in Montreal, found a real nice one. And then Kevin was shocked.
There's no label. Every label is covered.
Every label is covered, and all you have is a gray-brown label with the same specific font on every cigar.
You have like 100 different brands of cigars in this humidor, and every one of them still has the original label, but over the top of the label is a cover-up label. It's just a generic label.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they do it in, I don't know if this is the same in the States, but they'll put cigarettes. First of all, they have black lungs and, whatever disease they can put on it but then they even put them behind a cabinet where you can't even see them. So you have to go in and say, I'll have a De Maurier. They'll open it up and then they'll grab it. So there's no marketing of cigarettes at all here. So just going back to the cigars, just what a cigar label does. So we look for specific cigar labels and how they're marketing these cigar labels now with these different cigars, sometimes 2, sometimes 3 different labels, one at the top, one at the bottom, one in between. But without having that, they all
look the same.
It was hard to choose the cigar.
There's no brand. I mean, the branding is gone. It's hard to choose a cigar. You got to know what you want. And you got to ask them, and then they know, okay, that's under over here on shelf 7 on the second row. They just have to have a secret map to actually pull the cigar that you want. It's crazy. And then the cigars are like 3 times the price of the U.S. because of the taxes.
Yeah, and some of them are even more than that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. So the first night we went there, I think you ended up treating. Thank you for that. And then the next night I was like, I'll just bring some that I brought with me, and we'll smoke some good ones here and save $500, or whatever it was for just a couple. Just not. I mean, they're okay. They're good cigars, but they're not like Year of the Dragons or anything that should be costing that kind of money. But it was. But the good thing was that place was open till 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't mind that.
You don't get that in the cigar bars down here. They close at 9 or 10 or some stupid stuff like that. Or even Vegas, they close at midnight in Vegas, which is surprising.
Yeah, 3 a.m. was pretty good, but the other thing, of course, was going out and getting Montreal bagels afterwards.
That's right.
I just got to stick that in there.
That's right.
4 a.m. Montreal bagels.
Getting fresh bagels coming off at this little hole in the wall place that was really cool. But speaking of fresh bagels and branding and content, our guest today is actually, I think, one of the top when it comes to helping people get their brand out there, especially virtually and online, using AI. You getting helping people that have something to say, creators that have something to teach, to actually help them getting that stuff rocking and rolling. She's one of the top, I think, in the industry when it comes to that. Are you familiar with our guest today?
I am. I wasn't, but I did research. So Heather, I know a little bit about you. How's that? And it sounds awesome.
And we should bring her on. Let her introduce herself.
Okay. Well, could you introduce Heather, please?
Yeah, here we go. Heather, welcome to the Marketing Misfits. How are you doing?
Hey, guys. So we're dealing with cognac and cigars. That's my style, actually.
That's right. All right.
Perfect.
Nice.
Perfect.
Now, we met at Go High Level, right? I think that's where, or we met somewhere.
I think actually we met at the Internet Marketing Party in Austin 5,000 years ago.
Okay, that's right.
And basically in a dungy bar somewhere, Kevin. That's
is a dungy bar, on a side street down an alley, right?
Exactly, on 6th Street. Some really dark bar with a bunch of marketers talking over beer. It's probably where we met.
Don't you miss the Internet Marketing Party since you moved away from Austin? No.
Lovingly, no. Lovingly, no. I mean, I miss it from a perspective of I met some of my dearest friends there. I was there the very first one when literally it was like me and 10 people and David and Craig Perrine saying, "Hi, my name is Craig."
Back like 13, 15 years ago?
Yeah, it was literally the first one.
Oh, wow.
Legit. It was 10 people and we didn't know what to do. And so we stood in a circle, like staring at each other like dorks, like we're first grade. And we passed this really weird mic around. They were like, "Hi, I'm Heather. I'm a marketer." And it was it. Like, it was just the most boring thing. But that was the beginning. Yeah. But I just moved to Austin in 2009. I left Florida. I'm from Texas, but left Florida licking my wounds, from 2008. And that was my kind of coming back party into the entrepreneur internet marketing world. So I'm very grateful for everyone there. I give them tongue in cheek, but
so what were you doing? Were you doing real estate, or were you doing something else? Before that?
Yeah, I don't know if you know this. Is I've got my start. So how I got my start to be a misfit or a marketing misfit actually was totally on accident, because I grew up in Texas, and I'm a Baptist girl gone bad, and my job duty responsibility was to go to Baylor and be a good little girl and work for corporate and get married. And that was it. Like, that was like my duty in life, but didn't really work out that well. I got to corporate in Dallas, big corporate, big hair, Dallas sales. And I did well, did very well, but I did well. And then I got fired at the height of it. So I basically created this funnel. This is like in 99, y'all. So I created this funnel.
This is like medical sales, or what kind of sales?
It was telecom.
Telecom, okay.
Yeah. So I didn't know what I was doing, but I was in sales, and so I created this idea of this funnel where I didn't have to work that much, and it kind of went out to my target market, and then I just got orders throughout the day through the fax machine. And I was like number one in sales, not just in my little office, but in the entire country, like beat people in LA and New York. But I wasn't working hard that much. You know how we are in marketers. We're like, woo, that's great. And you think you'd be like, good job. This was amazing. But in corporate, you're supposed to be slicking it and being upset and working really hard. And I wasn't. I was like working barely like 10 to 2. And I was just taking orders. And I was basically beating the big boys. I was the only female in a room full of guys. And their way of saying, congratulations, you beat everyone in the office and the state and the entire country, is they fired me.
You were a threat. You were disrupting You were disrupting the status quo.
Yes, I was disrupting. You need to there's a whole view. So that was my first aha moment that I don't belong in corporate. Like, oh, because it was a Bell company, Southwestern Bell,
I remember,
Texas Bell company. Yeah, if you're from Texas, like the Bell company is kind of like the government back then. So, I thought I was smart. I was waiting for like my peak Cadillac to show up and shit, but it didn't. Instead, they gave me a pat on the head and then they said, "You're out." And so I actually ended up moving to Florida. And I started working for the largest direct response seminar company in the country. It was called Dynatech at the time, and they owned Forex Made Easy, Robert Allen Institute. They owned all these brands.
So these guys that are going around in the Holiday Inns, right?
That's right. That's
and
right.
Running a commercial like, "Come on Friday, we got free chocolate chip cookies, and we're going to show you how to get rich in real estate with no money down."
That was me. Okay. So you saw the infomercial at 3 a.m. when you weren't supposed to, and you showed up at the next day at 1:00, and you saw me. And so I got kicked out of corporate, and so I'm here, going around the country to Holiday Inns and Motel 6s and Marriotts and selling people. And that's when I learned direct response, and that's when I got introduced to things like Dan Kennedy and Joe Sugarman and. Yeah, I didn't even know those people existed. I was like, what do you mean? What's direct sales? And not corporate.
Yep.
Yeah, I had to learn quickly. So they basically said, "Heather, we either eat ramen noodles at night or Ruth Chris. So you have 90 minutes to extract $3,000 out of that weird guy with the beard."
That one over there.
Yeah. And then I had to learn. Yeah. So none of that like corporate salesy where it's like follow up and no, you had to.
This is one of those where you get everybody to run to the back of the room.
That's right.
Buy the binder of CDs.
That's right.
Okay. I remember those guys.
Yeah. I was full fulfillment. So I was on the infomercial. Swear it's a true story. I was on the infomercial. And then I was there showing up, selling. And then I even would do some of the fulfillment for the 3-day event. Right. So this is where I really got my hooks in the direct.
You were an influencer but you were an influencer before there was social media.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, totally. So that was 2001 through the kind of height of the real estate boom. And I was in Florida. So 01, 02, 03, 04, all that. And if you're around, that was like, everyone's in real estate. So I rode that wave and like everyone else. And then in 09 crashed like every one of my friends. And then I licked my wounds and came back to Texas because Texas didn't really have that much of a crash, as y'all probably know, and started again. But like at that time now I knew everyone in direct response. I knew, Joe Polish and Joe Sugarman and John Benson and Dan Kennedy and going to Dan Kennedy events. So you don't leave that world. You just like, oh, let's reinvent, right? Let's reinvent myself. And so that's kind of like, that's kind of my backstory of when I tell people I've been in the direct response marketing world for literally 23 years. Like it's no lie. Like it's really, even Joe Sugarman actually is no longer with us. If anyone knows who that is, one of the brilliant direct response marketers. He actually wrote
the sunglasses, he did the sunglass ad, right?
Yeah, the blue blocker sunglasses.
Blue blocker, that's it. Yeah, blue blocker.
He wrote the foreword of my first book called Sexy Boss. He wrote the title of that book, actually, and he was the foreword of that book. So he was a dear friend of mine and a mentored me for many years. Sweet guy.
There's probably a lot of people that are listening right now that really don't know about the devastation 2008. Where in Florida, I was there at that time, and you could buy 10 homes for $100,000.
Yeah,
they were selling them in pockets, and they were 10 homes for $100,000.
And I didn't have the money to buy because I was broke with everybody else. Right? Yeah, I wish we could. Right, I wish I could have, but I, like everyone else, bought and sold and flipped and foreclosed and all this stuff. And my house went backwards literally within a month. You're like, I'm sitting pretty at, 30% or, of pocket money I could get any time, and it just goes backwards on you.
Yep.
Like you don't really understand it until you go through it. And what was fascinating about that is it was happening to pretty much all my friends because we're in the industry. But then you went to Texas, and Texas only went down like 10%.
Yeah, we didn't. It was Vegas and Florida that was having the.
In Arizona,
yeah.
Arizona were the big ones. Vegas and Florida got just hammered. Yeah, so fascinating. That's how I got my start in this crazy misfit marketing weird.
So when you came back to Texas, what did you start doing? Still doing direct marketing? Did you start an agency? Just writing books? What were you doing?
It's a really fascinating story. So this is 2009, right? We're still in the kind of the era of real estates, and I didn't know what to do. And so I got kind of connected to some marketers, one specifically, his name is John, probably know him. Anyway, I was like, what? I have all this skill, I had all this skill marketing online, and what do I teach? I don't want to teach internet marketing when everyone's, so he's like, well, just teach what you really know. You're a hot blonde, teach men how to date women. So I became a dating internet marketer.
And now a word from one of our sponsors, one of Norm and I's favorite tools, Stack Influence.
Are you looking to quickly boost new Amazon product launches or scale up existing listings to reach first page positioning? The influencer platform Stack Influence can help. Stack Influence pushes high volume external traffic sales to Amazon listings using micro-influencers. And guess what? You only have to pay with your products. They've helped up-and-coming brands like Magic Spoon compete with Cheerios for top category positioning, while also helping Fortune 500 brands like Unilever launch their new products. Right now is the best time to get started with Stack Influence to crush it during this holiday season.
That's right, Norm. Sign up today at stackinfluence.com or click the link in the video below and mention Misfits. That's right, Misfits, MISFITS, to get 10% off your first campaign. Head over to stackinfluence.com right now.
I basically did the whole like Evan Pagan / David D'Angelo thing. And yeah, I have a book out, and Ryan Dice and Perry Belcher wrote my very first sales letter, onlydateyoungerwomen.com. He wrote the page. and believe it or not, I'm sure if he's listening, sorry, Perry, I'm just going to tell him. So him and I actually created the content. Because I didn't know what I was like, I don't know, what do you want me to, because he wrote the sales letter. He's like, okay, now I got to create the course. I'm like, I don't know. So we sat in the office in Austin. It was like on a Saturday, and he puts like a mic in front of me, no camera. And he goes, okay, just go with it. So we like create this content. And this is when Perry was a nobody, no one knew him. And he just assumed probably no one would ever know who he was. Right. And so he said his name was Perry Belcher on the thing. Okay. And he was acting like this total jackass guy. And he was like, okay, if you're a dating coach, I wanted you to teach me how to just, I can't use the word F women. Just how do I so
that sounds like Perry.
Yeah. Well, if you know him, yeah. I mean,
I know him really well. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's kind of funny now, but I'm sure at the time he didn't know that he was going to be out there and so much that he is now, but he put his name out there. And so we sold thousands of that course. And that's how I made money. That's when I got really involved with internet marketing. So I was doing like, hardcore email because when you go into dating, you can't just do ads. And this is before social media. This is before Facebook. This is before all that. So you had to really understand what I call black hat marketing, like hardcore email marketing, direct response. So I went down that rabbit hole for almost 10 years.
What does that mean? What's that mean?
Well, in the dating world, again, you got to remember where we're at. We're not in no TikTok, no Instagram, no YouTube, right? And this is the beginning of Facebook, and they still don't take dating. So we can't do a course out there and go learn how to date 5 women in a day. You can't do ads. You can't do regular marketing. So the only way to do it is what I call black hat, where it's not PORN, porn, but it's also not like, safe. So you're in this kind of black hat area. So you had to learn how to kind of create these unique ads or not ads, or do a lot of email marketing, ClickBank, stuff like that. Market without marketing. You had to learn how to basically market without marketing, without being able to do one ad.
So you're creative.
Yeah, very creative.
I totally get it, because I did pretty girl calendars and pretty girl trading cards and stuff for a long time. So I always felt like I was marketing with one hand tied behind my back.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
Certain things you didn't have to do, and you'd have to ease into something in a different way.
Yeah, you had to kind of because you couldn't go do a Facebook ad, right? Yeah. But then you didn't really want to do a PORN ad, because so you're in this weird gray area, and it was hard. It was not easy. I made a living at it. It taught me a lot. This is where I learned how to code and real direct response marketing to get the click and to get the buy, So I'm glad I did it, but it was hard. Was
this just to buy the book on how to do it, or was there a whole program behind that, an upsell? Was there a whole sales ladder?
A program, yeah. But my main, to be honest, where I learned quickly that my main income was to capture the email, build that relationship, and then I'd hit them with all kind of dick pills. That's where I made my money. They gave the best buyout. They gave the best affiliate. I could sell a course for $200 and they may give me 50, or I sell a bunch of dick pills and they give me $150 per buy. And I'm like, I'm in, so it wasn't very satisfying. And I tried to, teach men. I actually got on calls. That was just horrible, because you guys just do not listen. And I was like, this is insane. I got to get out of this industry. So I got out. But, if I knew when I went to Baptist Baylor.
Well, see, Baylor, though, is where you got
industry that I was going to be in. You know what I mean? It's what the heck? But, when you're a marketing person, you just go with what's there. So
I had a friend that went to Baylor, and I went to Texas A&M. And so we went to visit him one time. That's right. Whoop. I went to visit him one time, and he's like, well, you have to leave, as me and a girl, and we weren't dating, we were just friends. He's like, you got to leave the door to the dorm open. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
You can't shut the room to the door, to the dorm with a girl in here. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, no, it's just the rules here at Baylor. And then she sat on his bed, and we were just chatting. He's like, you can't sit Indian style on the bed. You have to have at least 1 foot on the floor.
Yep.
I'm like, you got to be kidding me. This is real. She's validating.
No, I know. It's valid. Yeah.
This is a university, a Baptist, big Baptist university in Waco, Texas. It's a good school, but yeah, they had all these firm rules.
Yes, I didn't know that. I was young, so I just
you had to rebel and go the opposite way and do the.
I did. I totally rebelled, because I was every weekend at Texas A&M or UT, because that's where all the boys were, and that's where the fun was. Because I went to burning and all that's where the fun was. Baylor wasn't fun. Anyway, I'm a Baptist Girl Gone Bad. So believe it or not, the Baptist Girl Gone Bad, which is I am Baptist Girl Gone Bad, came from the dating world. So there was a guy, copywriter, who back in the day when you were doing SEO articles and stuff, that was generating leads. So he did this SEO article for me, and the top was bad girl gone bad teaches men how to date hot women. And that just stuck. And I'm like, I'm totally a bad girl gone bad from Texas. That just stuck for me. So I'm still a bad girl gone bad.
Yeah. You were selling to men. I sold, and I still have a business that sells calendars to men. That we still sell pinup calendars.
That works
to this day. And so the psychology of some of these guys. So I'm looking at. There are customers, and I understand them. I've been doing it for 30 years. But I'm like, man, these are losers. There's some just straight up freaking losers.
It's sad. It was sad.
It's very sad. And the letters I get, sometimes they write to the girls in the calendar.
Being
I'm
guy, when you're a guy, you can have compassion. When you're a female, it gets even weirder because they want to F me, right? They eventually want to, but at the same time, I'm like, I can't really help them. And then it started messing with my head in real life because I'm like, I know what y'all really think. And that's just crazy. Like it started messing with my relationships, like all honesty. So I was like, I can't do this anymore. I know too much about what y'all think.
Yeah, with Kevin's side, I know a little bit about what he does and his marketing and the calendars. And we were just on another podcast just recently, it was last week's, I think. And he was talking about, again, I would not know this audience. I don't know this demographic, but he was trying to inspire me with doing some old school marketing. And what he did is he brought out this stack of letters or checks. Yeah. Envelopes. That's what they're called. I forgot what they were even called. But these envelopes, it had $19,000 in this group of envelopes that people were still writing checks and sending them off. Just old school marketing.
Money order. Someone go to 7-Eleven and get a money order. It says 7-Eleven money order on the top and mail that in. Yeah, it's amazing how much everybody gets in their own little world and that's what they know. But there's this whole big world out there of all kinds of niches and all kinds of crazy stuff where if you can get into the psychology like you did, because I dealt with models and really pretty girls for a long time on different shoots all over the world. Some of them not wearing many clothes. And so but it wasn't porn. Let me make sure that's clear. It was not porn. But it actually changes your perspective on things and you get into the psychology, and you got to get into the psychology of it if you're going to be a misfit and truly market to them. You got to understand your customer. And I understand my customer for these calendars, I know exactly what triggers them. I know exactly how to a lot of them are collectors. They have a collector mentality, or they're lonely guys.
They're lonely guys.
And I don't want to think about
lonely, horny guys.
Yeah. Yeah. And some of the stuff that they send into you of requests and different things. And I mean, I just had this happen just yesterday. I sent this to my business partner, and it's like, you got to check this out. This guy's so upset that his calendars have not arrived. He ordered some calendars a week ago. They have not arrived. He sent a message. He was tracking it. I think it got misdirected from, he lives in West Virginia, and it went to Indianapolis and went to West Virginia. And somehow the post office just must have put it in the wrong bin and went back to Indiana. So now it's going back. So it got delayed a couple of days. He had his underwear in a wad because he's like, there's some trouble to be had here if you guys don't get this straightened out. And if I don't get my damn calendars, I spent good money for this. And the seriousness of this for this guy.
I think for me, when I started because when I first got in the industry, I didn't really understand their mindset. I thought they wanted to have a girlfriend. I thought they wanted to have a wife. I quickly realized they're horny, lonely men.
Yeah.
And honestly, they don't really want the wife. That's a responsibility.
Right.
What they want is a feeling of an experience that they're no longer the lonely, horny man, and that's fulfilled on some level, even if it's for a moment, right? And it started to mess with me because then I would go on date. I was single at the time, and still single, but like I would go on dates, and they're like, "Oh, you're a dating coach." All of a sudden, people would just get really weird. But then I would started to realize how
I think you're psychoanalyzing them or something.
Yes,
right?
Well, yeah, because believe it or not, when I read Influence by Robert Cialdini, that like right there is every single relationship in the world. It's more than just copy. It is literally relationships, And so I had to, I realized what their pain points were. And yes, I made money, but at the same time, it was like sad to me because I didn't really realize, and this is just generalizing, of course, not to you guys, but like how much having a woman in a particular framework in their life, even if it's not real, is completely direct connected to their self-esteem / ego. Like not what's reality, not what she actually is saying or desires. It's what the perception of to make them feel better. So that was like a big, like, I don't know, like, oh, wow, I never really saw that. You know
The
what I mean?
aha moment. And
Yeah.
if you can drill down like you did, now you know your audience and now you can market to them.
Well, marketing is about perception.
Yeah, it really is.
Marketing is all perception. And if you can understand that, you just said it. And it's all perception. If you can understand that, then you can make a lot of money.
I had these women. I was actually, believe it or not, I went to this event. I don't know how this happened, but it was right there in Barton Springs in Austin. And I was a speaker at it. And it was like this dating coach was doing this event. I don't know. It was so weird. Anyway, looking back. So I spoke at it and I had these women walk right up. I don't know if y'all have had 3 women walk right up to you, but women can be kind of intimidating when they like pack together. And so they like came right at me and they're like, we're angry at you. And I'm like, what? Because in my head, when I'm teaching men how to date women, I feel like I'm helping women. Like it was a translator moment. That's what I thought. She goes, you're teaching men what we really think and that you're giving away all the goods. And I don't remember what I said to them. I was probably just very like, well, thanks for being here. Thanks for what you said. But what I really wanted to say was men really don't listen to you. They're not even listening to me. Like if I told them every single secret about women, I promise you, they won't even like recognize what I just said. It's true. It's true. It like legitimately, like that whole men are more Mars, women are Venus. It's like literally 2 different frequencies trying to communicate. And every now and then there's a little bit of a connection piece. And they're like, oh my God, we're in love because we actually had a few tentacles like pass, and I believe that after 10 years of literally having an all male list that I had to talk to 2 or 3 times a day and extract money out of, I had to learn quickly.
Well, now you have it with AI. I mean, they don't need a dating coach. The AI with character.ai and some of the stuff there, they can get exactly what they want.
Yes, AI has definitely transformed it for sure. But at the same time, I think if I started doing copywriting with AI in that niche, I don't think AI would get it because I think AI would still think that they really want a girlfriend.
Yeah, you don't think it could get that sentience that, I agree. That would be hard.
In that particular niche. I think other niches it's done well, but I think in that specific niche, like I said, it took me a couple of years to actually get what really the market was. It's not really that, it's not really like I want a girlfriend and wife and live happily ever after. No, that's called responsibility and headaches. And now I have to I'm responsible for their happiness and stuff. That's the male. The woman's like, oh my God, everything's amazing. And it's like, oh my God, I'm responsible for you now. Like I'm now married. Now you're like my responsibility. That's heavy, So, women, it's like a freedom to men. I'm generalizing, of course, it's a prison. So it's a different mindset. Not one's better or the other. It's just like it is, right? So yeah, I don't think AI's caught there yet. I don't think they're there yet.
Yeah, and you brought up a good point. These 2 differences, just that marketing message. That message, if you can have I have a product that I can market to both, but the message has to be so different. And you've nailed it. What a guy's looking for, what a woman's looking for. And there is some crossover, but the messaging, it has to be so different. It's almost like when, Kevin, you came up to Montreal, we were just talking about it, to market in the Quebec environment, and which is very chic, sexy, completely different than anywhere else in Canada, and it's just, again, understanding that audience.
Mm-hmm. I have a little meetup here. I'm doing here in St. Pete, just like marketing meetup. I don't know a lot of people here yet, so I'm still kind of playing it. Anyways, there was this guy, and I said, what do you do? He's like, I'm a copywriter. And I'm like, oh, okay. And see, they look at me and they're like, oh, you don't know anything about marketing, but I 23 years. Okay. But they see me as blonde chick. And so they have no idea. And they just kind of pawn me off like that. That's fine. So I said, oh, tell me what your market is. And he's like, man, well, I got this gig and it's women. Like, women are really hard to write for. And I was his wife. His wife was pregnant. She's this Asian girl. She's super cute. She's all pregnant. She's like, "We're not that hard." And he's like, "It's hard. I don't get it. I'm having struggles." Right? I don't know what the product was. Right? He's like, "It's really different to write for women. Like they're not inspired by making money." I'm like, "Nope. Women are not inspired by making money. You can be like, freedom, make millions," and they're like, doesn't even really like phase them, right? They want security. They want security and freedom, right? Especially right now, what I call the sandwich. There's what I call a female, I call the market's a female sandwich. So the female sandwich right now, they're between 40 and 55, and they're sandwiched between two families. They're taking care of their elders. They're taking care of their elders. They have to take them to this, take them to that, or like all that. Maybe they're in a nursing home. Maybe they're not. They're taking care of the elders or their husband's elder, whatever. And then the kids are kind of grown. They're 22, 23, but they're not responsible for anything. They're still relying on mom, right? Or whatever. So they're sandwiched. And so an offer for them is like, how do I make money and still be responsible for all this stuff I have to take care of? Or maybe they're divorced and they still have a husband they have to deal with, right? So they're kind of what they call them this really weird sandwich. So it's a really interesting market. That's my market now. Like I'm talking to them, and theirs is all about freedom when and where they're making money, freedom to be able to make money in between all these crazy schedules they're handling.
And that's part of what you're doing is empowerment too, right? Out of a lot of this is you're really big in the for female empowerment, right?
Yeah, I've doubled down on that. Even though I've been told by male marketers for 15 years there's no money with women. That's a quote. That's not true. When you go to a Joe Dispenza event at the Four Seasons in Naples, that's $300 a night, and the event's $3,500, and the room is 300 women. Okay, for 7 days. You realize that actually the money in America is controlled by women. Now, men have money, but it's controlled by women, especially women who are older, their spouses have passed away. Women who are divorced, they got a larger majority of the money. There's all kinds of things. So women have way more control of the purse in America than marketers ever really want to acknowledge.
Now, a quick word from our sponsor, Levanta. Hey, Kevin, tell us a little bit about it.
That's right, Amazon sellers. Do you want to skyrocket your sales and boost your organic rankings? Meet Levanta, Norm and I's secret weapon for driving high-quality external traffic straight to our Amazon storefronts using affiliate marketing. That's right. It's achieved through direct partnerships with leading media outlets like CNN, Wirecutter, and BuzzFeed, just to name a few, as well as top affiliates, influencers, bloggers, and media buyers, all in Levanta's marketplace, which is home to over 5,000 different creators that you get to choose from.
So are you ready to elevate your business? Visit get.levanta.io/misfits. That's get.levanta, LEVANTA.io/misfits, and book a call, and you'll get up to 20% off Levanta's Gold Plan today. That's get.levanta.io/misfits.
So I'm 100% focused on that market, which I call the sandwich market. 40 to 60, they are women that will not be asked to come back to America, to corporate, because corporate pushes women out at 50. They think they're old. So they don't see that as distinguishment wisdom. They look at that as old. Plus, women want too much flexibility to take their mom to the hospital at 1:00 in the afternoon for her, treatment or whatever. So it's a very unique market, but they actually have a lot of money. And so That's my market, is 100% helping them use AI to create a sales consultant business. Yeah. So that's my 2025. It's unique. I think it's different. It's a passion of mine. And yeah, I'm excited.
Do you happen to know Andrea Lake? No, Andrea Lake and you should get together and talk. She has an organization, empowers women, and it's called Power Chick Mafia. And women that are selling over 10 million a year can be involved. And then if you're not selling that, you can be part of the group. I'll make that introduction, but
I love that.
I'm listening to you and I'm going, you're Andrea.
I say this in just truth, not a complaint, right? It's just like, it's truth. I literally was told by, especially in the direct response days when I'm running around the country, it was all men. Men were the only speakers. We were only allowed to be in the back of the room. I was told over and over and over again, women don't know how to sell. Women can't sell. We can't do front of the room. Our only job is to be back of the room or fulfillment. I was asked many times that I wanted to try to sell. And I was told no, because I'm a woman, right? Which is just crap. And there was a few women that kind of came through, but very few. Like you have one woman, like, oh, there's one woman, like, yeah, and there was 800 men. Like, you can't go 1 to 800 and think this is like an empowerment move. And it's not a diss. It's not a complaint. It's just like it is, right? I think what's happening now is there's so much change just generalizing in the marketplace. And AI has kind of dropped the fence, you know what I mean? Like dropped the barrier. And I think women just in general are more open to like, oh, I can sell my value. Like that's a thing. I didn't know I could do that. Like they don't even know that that's possible, right? I didn't know I could charge that kind of money. Like this is like a new concept for majority of women in the world. And so that's the conversation. Like I'm working on an Uncage You. That's kind of my brand's called Uncage You. I have a book out called Uncage Yourself, right? And it's really just about how do you uncage your worth, that whole concept that you guys already know, which is like, you're paid for your value in the marketplace, and how do you package your value? I mean, that's an old school concept from Dan Kennedy, but that's a new concept for a lot of women, especially in the sandwich arena. So that's kind of the conversations I'm having. And then how do you use AI to make that easier and faster and grander scale? Right?
So how do you convert? How do you, like you're saying, it is in sales is male dominated, except for maybe medical sales. That's usually hot young women. Doing medical sales. But it's in e-commerce, that space that Norm and I are big in the Amazon space. And we go to conferences, it's 70, 80%, 90% dudes. And I run events in the space, virtual and in-person events. And a few years ago, I got flack because there wasn't a single woman speaker at the events. Not because I didn't try. One, there wasn't a lot of them that were good enough to speak didn't want to speak because they were nervous, or they felt a pressure, or were not good enough, or something like that. And then the other ones had a conflict. But I got pushback on that. And then, but I always try to get female speakers. But women are oftentimes judged by their looks first, and by men, and by other women. And by other women. Other women, I mean, a lot of women dress nice, not to please men, but to please other women.
I think that's in the regular sector. I can't speak for entrepreneurs. I think
in entrepreneurs, I think it's a little bit different. But in the regular general population.
The gen pop.
The gen pop. So how do you help them come out of that shell to do this uncaging, where like you have something to sell, you have some value. Be bold, be brave, be unafraid. What do you do? How do you psychologically make that switch to get into their head, to give them that confidence to do this? Because there's a lot of really smart women that could do crazy stuff, but they feel restricted.
Yeah, the restriction is probably not what you think it is. The restriction's actually coming from a fear of the unknown, specifically around technology. So I'm unique because I'm in this world, I'm thrown into technology. I've been doing Go High Level for the last 3 years, Funnel Hacker Live, Infusionsoft, way back in the day. And because of that time in my dating space for 10 years, I was thrown into rooms of all men and what I call hardcore internet marketing, like HTML code and stuff. Like I had to go into that world. So the big thing I'm helping women with is because that's their biggest barrier. Women are great at sales. Go to any chamber, B&I group, and they're like, hey, how are you? I want to support you and help you. And they're really good at that kind of stuff. Where they get nervous or scared, or they not really scared, but they get like, is they don't feel like they can dive into the technology. So what I'm doing with Uncage and Uncage Your Voice is I'm actually kind of removing that barrier, and like we've done it for them. So I'm like hand holding it. We have the funnels, we have the workflows. I'm like handing it to them in a business in a box so that they can focus on what they're really great at, which is connecting with people and smiling and selling like a real estate agent, right? If you look at why women are real estate agents is because they get to be like, hey, and look around and be themselves. And the technology, there's not a lot of technology. You know what I mean? It's like an MLS and some software. So we're kind of taking that concept in AI with Uncaged and being able to say, okay, we're going to remove that technology barrier and it's going to be completely done for you inside of the snapshot. I think the reason why I can speak for myself, the reason why I think even like I have an e-com business and you and I talked about that. And it's just like, it's like hanging out there, right? I put my energy on it. But I think one of the reasons why a lot of women aren't in e-com is because you probably know this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Like, you can go deep into Amazon with tech and graphs and like, it gets all geeked out. Women don't really enjoy that. That's not like, let's geek out on some software to figure out exactly which product I'm 1.25%. And then I'm number 10 and I got to get to number 5. Like, you know what I mean? It's not all women really want to do that all day. It's pretty techy. So I think that's where I'm coming in and trying to eliminate those pieces out of the way and giving them tools, like kind of done for you tools and then give them the freedom to just go out there and help people because that's what they love to do. And
how's the AI tie into that? So they're saying, I want to consult. You said it's consultancy, right?
Yeah. So AI sales consultant.
They want to consult on AI, or they want to consult on someone how to market their business, and you're having the AI create all the stuff in behind the scenes. Or I'm not following.
We're working with Boss Hub, which is the Go High Level white label. And so Go High Level white label has AI voice, AI web chat. And so what we're doing is we're basically teaching them what the software and the tools are doing, how it can help local businesses from lawyer to plumber to roofer to insurance agent, spa, and teaching them how to sell those tools inside of their business. They don't really have to know to geek out on AI. I'm going to teach them what they need to know about AI, but to be able to then sell those services into the local marketplace. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah. They don't have to be a prompt engineer. I mean, you know what I mean? Like they don't have to be a prompt engineer or understand every single LLM to be able to sell to a spa. Hey, we're going to put an AI web chat or an AI voice on your, with your company so it can help you with your sales and we can actually train the bot for you.
So you're basically taking care of the back end. So They just go out, they just make the connections, do what they're good at, networking, and say, I've got the solution. They don't have to worry about the whole backside of how that works, and you just take care of that for them.
Exactly.
That's okay. Nice. Makes it easy.
Yeah. And I'm definitely half male, more half male than half woman at this point, but I think one of the things that I've had to realize, I said this to someone the other day and they kind of looked at me weird. I saw an ad and I went to, of course, the webinar. It was how to start an AI agency in 2025. And so, of course, I went because I wanted to see their stack, right? And so I'm like, oh, that's really interesting. I can add that. And they said, well, why don't you teach women how to become an AI agency? I was like, women generally, again, I'm generalizing, women don't want to be an agency. They don't want to be an agency. They want to be a real estate agent. They just want to be a salesperson. They want to be a real estate consultant. They want to be an AI consultant, where it's just like, here's the services, here's the pricing, here's what we can do. Awesome.
I think a lot of this has to do with mindset too. Back in 2017, 2018, I went to, I don't know if you were there, Kevin. I think you were. This was an event, the first event for women to empower women it was in LA. Amazon. It was in Manhattan Beach. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And Stormy Simon went up. She was the CEO of Big Box, and she just became CEO of High Times. And she got up on stage and she said, how many women think of yourself as an entrepreneur? Nobody really put up their hand in this huge room, 400 or 500 people. Nobody of women, maybe a tenth. And that, I think, is mindset. You're an entrepreneur. Think of yourself as an entrepreneur. That's that mindset. And we've also seen since then, a big mindset, like a shift where more and more women in the Amazon space anyways, have started to think of themselves as the business owner, as an entrepreneur. But it was shocking to see that nobody put up their hand, or very few.
I think that's cultural. Some of it's women's have often been culturally caretakers and men are builders. The men are the guys going out and doing the hunts, going out and killing the animal, bringing it back. And the women are the caretakers, taking care of the family and the baby. And that's a cultural shift. And you're seeing that now with STEM. A lot of these, they're trying to get women to get into robotics, into engineering, into those more mathematical, logic-oriented stuff.
So here's the thing, but I would say that I agree and disagree with you, Kevin, lovingly. Sure. So I think it's a language shift. So in our world, for years it's been launch a business, launch it, like rockets come down, like launch men, like I launched this product and then I launched this product and then I launched this. Women, that's not how we grow things. We birth things. We grow a garden. We grow a child.
That's the caretaker.
I don't consider that caretaking. I consider that growing a business. Women are actually extremely good at growing a business, but it's the language of, you're going to grow this. Don't listen to the male marketer saying you have to launch and make $1 million in one day. It's insane. That's like trying to get out a baby out of your birth canal and getting mad at it that's not running a marathon. Like true business, true entrepreneurs that have actually written good books about it, even Dan Kane talks about it, it's a birthing process. There's phases and growth and longevity. But unfortunately, in our world, we're taught this like, launch it, I made $1 million in 1 hour. It's like, but what do you have in a year from now? Do you have a business, or did you have just a product that just made some money? And I think that's the conversation I have with them. It's like learning how to allow yourself to birth a business and allowing it to go through those phases, because true entrepreneurs, as you guys know, it's phases, And I think it's teaching women it's okay to go through those phases. And whenever I teach them, okay, business is like birthing. The first year is going to get ugly and probably smelly. But then the second year, you've built on it. It now walks and maybe talks a little. You know what I mean? And allow yourself to actually allow to grow. Now, those phases could happen in 2 or 3 months or a shorter time frame with AI, for sure. But I think that it's like allowing women to start speaking the way that they know how to grow things versus launching a product that has to make $1 million. So I think when I even talked to you about that and go high level, I said, yeah, I have this, product, and you're like, oh, it's not on the first 5, you're not gonna make any money. I'm like, I don't give a shit. I birthed it. And it's on Amazon, and it's also on TikTok, and it's on Walmart. And I'm building an email newsletter list, and I'm going to share it to that list. I don't feel it's a failure because I didn't launch it like a damn rocket. Does that make sense?
No, it makes sense. Yeah, men have that. I guess that's. I don't know if competitive or it's a strength thing. You got to be and more.
It's taken me 23 years to have the balls to say that to two men I'm on the call with. Yeah. Because I thought that I was a loser all these years because I wasn't birthing business. I wasn't launching. Like, that is asinine. Asinine. It's actually insanity. I remember in the marketing space, I forgot his name. I know you know what I'm talking about. He was like the guy, what was his name? Oh, it's coming up. He's gone all of a sudden. He talked about how he made $1 million in the one day or something like that. It was the first guy ever. And then Frank Kern, of course, came behind him and did it faster or something. But John Reese. Uh-huh. And like how he was like, look at me, I made $1 million in like 5 hours. And you're just like, a year later, he didn't have a business. You know, what's success? Is that success? Or someone like Sarah Blakely, who's built a legitimate long-term business that feeds you, that you birth it, and then in a few years later, it feeds you. That's women. And women know how to do that because they're doing it all the time in their family. You know what I mean? And it's like starting to have that kind of language of like, let me help you birth your very first Amazon product and get all the kinks out. Don't worry that it doesn't make $1 million in the first month. Don't worry about that. Then birth your second one. Then birth your third one. Build a brand. Don't feel you have to compete against every single mushroom. Like you said that, you're like, and I'm like, I don't give a crap that my mushroom time is not number one. I could care less because I'm clear I'm building Shroom Time as a brand.
Hey, Kevin King and Norm Farrar here. If you've been enjoying this episode of Marketing Misfits, thanks for listening this far. Continue listening. We got some more valuable stuff coming up. Be sure to hit that subscribe button if you're listening to this on your favorite podcast player, or if you're watching this on YouTube or Spotify, make sure you subscribe to our channel because you don't want to miss a single episode of the Marketing Misfits. Have you subscribed yet, Norm?
Well, this is an old guy alert. Should I subscribe to my own podcast?
Yeah, but what if you forget to show up one time and it's just me on here? You're not going to know what I say.
I'll buy you a beard and you can sit in my chair too. And you can go back and forth with one another. Yikes! But that being said, don't forget to subscribe, share it. Oh, and if you really like this content, somewhere up there's a banner. Click on it and you'll go to another episode of the Marketing Misfits.
Make sure you don't miss a single episode because you don't want to be like Norm.
Oh.
And people do look at it short-sighted, especially in e-commerce. It's how much. But
that's because it's been taught that. It's been taught that.
Yeah, it's been taught that way. How much money can I make? How fast? When can I quit my job and go retire? And it's not about building long-term brands. And that's where there's a shift going on right now. I think Norm would agree with this, where there's that get rich quick. The same thing happened in infomercials with real estate, with classified ads in the back of newspapers and everything.
Lamborghinis, money.
Yeah. That's starting to shift now for people like, oh, this isn't so easy. This is actually real work. And it's going to take a while to actually build something. And the way that I protect my moat is to actually build a true brand and do it over time and slowly and stick with it when the times are hard and when the times are bad. I mean, I use this example all the time, but I have a newsletter that that I started in August of 2023, and I've about 140 episodes or editions in now because I do it twice a week. And at the beginning, it was work. It was taking me 4 to 6 hours for each one. I'm personally writing it. I still personally write it, but 4 to 6 hours to write each one, then to get it out. It was making no money, but I stuck with it, kept building the brand, kept building. Now it's a mid 6-figure business per year. And it's continuing to grow. And that's where a lot of people entrepreneurs and a lot of people don't understand, and they're not taught. They're like, everyone wants that quick win. That quick win. They don't want to put in the work.
It's because of the Frank Kerns of the world and the John Reeses and the Billie Jeans of the world, where they don't want to. They just want to have the launch. It's like a real entrepreneur, a real one that you probably don't even hear about. They're the ones birthing and growing the seed, growing the garden, adding more value. And I think that's what I'm doing now. Yes, I'm focusing on women because women can actually hear that. Men don't want to hear that. Men don't want to hear, I'm going to teach you how to grow a business that in a year or 2 years is feeding you. They don't want to hear that.
Why do you think that is? What's the psychology there? Why do you think women will listen and men won't on that? Is it a cultural thing, or is it
there are men and there's women?
Yeah. I don't really know, to be honest. And I will say that I'm not, I've been told, I'm just going to say this for some reason. I feel very called to say this again, not as a complaint, okay, at all, or a put down or any of that. It's just like, this has been my life. These are things that have happened to me. I've had a person who walked right up to me, a marketer who I've known for over 15 years, and said, quote, Heather, you know why you weren't invited to this blah, 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 blah party marketing thing? And because it was always men. And I said, no, please tell me. Now, when he's saying this, he's a little drunk and there's other guys around me and they're literally pushing him off of me and going, whatever he says, it's not true. And I'm like, no, please. I honor what you're going to say. And he's like, because women have no value in marketing.
Wow.
And I didn't, they thought I was going to kick his ass. I didn't. You know what I said to him? I said, thank you for speaking the truth, because women have not been valued in this world of marketing. I have been shunned. I'm still shunned. I was kicked out of a marketing group 6 weeks ago only because I was a woman. True story. So I don't know why men don't listen. And honestly, it used to be my desire to try to get them to. I'm just kind of over it. I want to work with people that want to build a business that will feed them the life they want. Like actually build something that inspires them, build something that makes them feel good about themselves, and is on the cutting edge. And that's just where my goals are. And I guess if I'm kicked out of the boys club for this too, then so be it. But I think there's a time when women have to say it's okay to be the way we are, which we birth things and we grow things and we empower things. It's what we're good at. And I think businesses are ready to have that kind of leadership.
On that note, this was awesome. We got into one question kind of that was going around, but you've got to come back. This was great.
Yeah, this is good. That's very good. I love this.
So, Heather,
sorry for I apologize, but don't, right? Like I feel
nothing to apologize for at all. No, you just say.
I'd love to say that being in the marketing business for 24 years has been rosy. But as a woman, big hair, blonde, blue eyes, big breasted girl from Texas, it has not been. So that is why I am so this is where I'm at, because it's just tired of constantly being told things that aren't true.
You've hit on a number of points that are going to have many people with their eyes open.
That's good.
It's been great, and I'm glad that all these candid responses that you've given today. I hope you can come back. I do have a question for you.
Okay, sure.
At the end of every podcast, we ask our misfits if they know a misfit.
Yes, every direct response marketing copywriter ever. But I have a few in mind. I'll have to ask if I can reveal their names.
Very good. Very good. Your book or anything else, how people can get a hold of you. How do we do that?
I just go to heathersfreebook.com. It's heathersfreebook.com. And if they're interested, it's literally a free download of my book, Uncage Yourself. And it's my COVID baby book. That's basically the fearless method to turn your knowledge into market influence, impact, and income. So heathersfreebook.com.
Awesome. Thank you for being on. We're going to remove you and then we'll get right back to you.
Bye.
Thanks, Heather.
Bye.
Well, that was awesome. That was good. No, that's I love that unbridled authenticity. I mean, I can't even speak.
See, we're not used to multisyllabic words.
That's right. Multisyllabic. These big words always get me.
They scare me.
They scare me. They tongue-tied. But no. Heather, I mean, she said some very good truths there that a lot of people are afraid to say or don't want to say, but it's true. But that was a good discussion. I know we got to get her back on because we could go down a lot of paths with her.
Absolutely.
And I was glad. I guess she said we met at an internet marketing party, but I got to speak with her a little bit more at the Go High Level event in Dallas last October. And I was like, you got to come on the podcast. And so I think she even said she might even come to Elevate 360. She was thinking about that. So, someone from the marketing world would probably really enjoy that. But that was good.
Okay. So that's it for today's episode. Join us next week for another Marketing Misfits. And where can people go to find us?
You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on all your favorite podcasting platforms like Spotify, Apple, Podbeam, you name it. We're there. You can also, if you like this episode with Heather, be sure to share this. Especially if you know some other women, especially men should hear this too. But anybody that you think should hear what she had to say and help spread her message, share this episode, forward them the link, and say, hey, you got to check this episode out because it's really, really good. Or you can go to just marketingmisfits.co.
Not com.
Not .com, but .co, right?
That's it. You got it.
And you can find us there. And check out the old archive as well for some great stuff. It makes great listening. And we're getting really good feedback on the podcast from people that are saying, hey, they really love the different style this is than the normal podcast and the banter and the topics we're going into. So help us spread the word and help grow the Marketing Misfits.
All right. That being said, by the way, my wife said she liked it. That's another thing. But so I got a fan. Or we have a fan.
All right.
All right. Until next week, we will see you later.
Take care, everybody.